Hey everyone, it's your girl Barbie J, and I just happened to come upon yet another Tyler Perry TV show called Sisters. So I said, well, I'm a sister, why don't I watch it? And that's what I did. And I felt it was, as I watched it, I felt it was worthy of being shared and reviewed, for others to take notice and tune in. We got to support our people. So right now I'm in the process of learning the storyline from last season. So bear with me as I provide you with this recap of season 2, episode 1. And then the next video will be episode 2 because they did both of them in the same night. So it was a whole lot of information for me. Okay, so that'll be in the next video. But it seems to be about 4 girlfriends, Danny, Sabrina, Karen, and Andi. And then there was some other characters' names that went around. There was Maurice and a Zach and a Calvin and Fatima. And then there was this FBI agent. I sound like he said his name was Joshua or something like that. FBI and Joshua. There was an attorney. There was a lot of people thrown at me. So everybody wasn't mentioning names, so I couldn't catch it. I even watched each episode twice, so it was rough. Anyway, Danny seems to be the little spitfire of the group, and she seemed to be she's a little bit of comedy in there, as well as this other kid man named Zach. And then there's Sabrina, who seems to be the one who is sweet and nice, calm, and it seems like her home is the gathering place, and she works at a bank. And then there's Karen, who seems to be a tough sister, maybe even hardcore, because she actually, in the last episode, shot somebody. So I don't know what's going on with that. Then there's Andi, and she's the professional who just got played by her boyfriend. So let me try to go through this. I'm looking at my notes, so bear with me, and I'm going to try to go quickly because I don't want to hold you guys up. But it seems like it's a worthy, something that people should watch, each season. Okay, so it started off with Danny in the bed with her man, and he's getting up to leave and go to work, and she doesn't want him to go to work, and she's upset with him. And I don't understand why any woman be upset that her man is going to work. So she seemed to be upset, but then she said he never calls her back after he leaves. So that might be her insecurity, But it seems to me, if she don't want him getting up, that means she don't have a job. So she must don't have a job, because at one point in this episode, Andy called her to get a ride. She was stranded somewhere. Andy called her to get a ride, and she was like, I don't have no money in my gas tank. Like she needs some gas money. So she said whatever. But anyway, then it went over to Sabrina, and she was at the hospital with this guy. You could tell he's gay, and I think his name was Maurice. And Maurice was flirting. He was getting discharged that day, but he was in there flirting, trying to play sick because his doctor is so fine, this guy. So he was trying to, flirt with the doctor. And after talking to the doctor and Sabrina meeting him, the doctor said he would go out to coffee with him. Not that the doctor's gay, but the doctor seems to get a kick out of him. So we'll see about that. Then they showed, then this one is Andi. Andi's the one who's walking in the street. She's on a dirt road somewhere. I guess that's where they get that title, The Lonely Road, for this episode. Season 2, episode 1 is called The Lonely Road. And she's walking, and she's in her dress and stuff, and heels, and a truck pull over, and it's this guy, and he's offering to give her a ride, and she's looking at him like, I don't know you, and stuff. And she asked to use his phone. She calls her friends. None of them are answering the phone to pick her up. She calls Danny finally. Danny doesn't answer the phone, but Danny's man throws the phone at her and say, answer the phone. She said, she did say it's just my job. Like she didn't want to go in. So she does have a job or something, but I don't know. Anyway, she ends up, he turns it on and gives it to her. And then she realized it's Andi. And she's like upset because she's the last one that Andi called. Why? I mean, she doesn't seem like she's the most responsible, but she does seem like she she has her views and feelings about stuff. You'll see later. And so she reluctantly says she'll help her. She'll go and get her, but she don't know where she is. She gives the address. She's like, I don't know where the freak that is, but her man happens to know where that is, so he's going to take her to her. Then come to find out, when it goes back to Andi, that man who picked her up is an FBI agent, and he's working on her boyfriend's case. And what she finds out is her boyfriend also had a first wife, and she's saying that the boyfriend was conned by his wife and another friend, and well, at least that's what the boyfriend told her. But he said, nah, this has been going on a while, since way before he married his wife. You know, he's been doing this embezzlement. He's been embezzling money, I believe it is. And so she's really sitting there upset. She gets in the car and goes into town. She calls, you know, Andi and tell her, change your plans. Meet me at Sabrina's house or something like that, or somebody's house, Andi's house, whoever. And so that's what they do. Oh, meet her at her house. That's what it was. And so what else? She gets the ride. She learns more stuff about her husband and what he's been doing. And she was pissed at the FBI agent because she thought he knew who she was, but he didn't. And what happens is the reason she's walking is because when she left the precinct or wherever, they wouldn't give her phone and her purse and stuff. And she needed her phone, so she had to walk because she didn't have anybody to call. And you know, nowadays we have everything on our cell phones, so we don't know people's numbers by heart. We really don't. And so they go, let's see, then it goes over to the sister in the hospital who happens to be, I believe that's Sabrina, visiting Maurice. Oh no, this is Karen. She's in the hospital with Zach, okay? Zach got stabbed at Karen's house, and his blood is all over the floor at her house. And that's why she ended up having to shoot somebody. So I don't know if she carries a gun. I don't know anything like that, but I will find out for you guys. And so they're talking, and you could tell they used to date or something like that. And on the ride home, while she's driving him to her house to get her stuff or whatever, they start talking. And it comes out that, you know, they used to date, and he's trying to say, you know, you're beautiful and I love you. And she's like, don't go down this road. Don't do that. And he's like, what am I doing? And she's letting him know, you're trying to get back with me. Let's wait. But then he tells her, this dude that she's seeing now, please take it slow with him. Don't be so quick with him. He said, so he's jealous. He's basically jealous. And I don't know if there's something up with this guy, but it seems like the fight and the stabbing and everything that happened at her apartment was because of this dude. So we'll get into details about that. So then they show Sabrina at home, and Calvin comes to visit. Calvin has 2 gay fathers, and one of them has died. Okay, has died. So they're going to have a funeral for him. And he was apologizing to Sabrina for the way he spoke to her. And he said, I shouldn't have spoke to you that way. I shouldn't have said I'll slap you. And she said, no, you actually said I should slap the shit out of you. And he was like, oh, man, that's terrible. You didn't deserve that. I'm so sorry, you know. And so he said his dad is being cremated. And they're going to have, he wanted to have a drag show. So he said they could turn the drag show into a fundraiser for Maurice. So I'm assuming that Maurice got beat up. He's in the hospital because he had bruises on his face. So he must have gotten hurt because of, you know, maybe some gay bashing. And he might have gotten beat up for that. So that's what I'm making out of that part. Calvin told Sabrina so as they're talking and they apologize, he apologized and everything. He's told her, Calvin told Sabrina, I love you. And she was like, he said, come here, girl. And he's like, I love you. And she's like, what? She's like in shock. And he walks away and he goes, now, where's that food you were talking about? So he said it like emotionally, but then he just switched and it was like, now, where's that food? And she's still standing there like, he said, what? But I later find out that this man used to walk around with panties on. He didn't wear drawers. He wore panties, you know, or whatever. So we'll see about that. Hopefully I can find out more about that part. Then it was, who else do they show? Oh, so when Zach and Karen get to her apartment, she sees the police are still there. She sends him in there to get her cell phone that she left and all that stuff. And he went there. He was pissed. He didn't want to go in, and he was acting so silly. So I said he's the comedic actor on the men's side. You know, I believe Danny is it on the female side. So he goes in there, and he happens to know the police officer who's there. And I think they hit it. You know, I think he hit that, but she went after him. And she basically was like, like, what do you want? I know you didn't have nothing to do with this, did you? And he's like, yeah, I got stabbed up in here. And she said they don't know. The man got shot. They don't know if he's going to survive. So they're treating this crime like a homicide because the guy got shot. That's what it was. And so she told him to give him 45 minutes and then, you know, until they finish, and then he could get in there. You know, he was trying to get in there because, you know, they had a little something going on. And she was like, no, I'm doing my job. Of course, it was a black female. And so he went back to the car and told Karen that they wasn't going to give her the phone, but he didn't tell her that he knew that police officer. But she was like all over him, trying to get his give her number to him. Then they show the girl in the dress. Oh, okay. Karen, what is her name? Andi. Andi went to see her man who has been locked up. The FBI agent took her to see the guy, and they were talking, and he kept saying his wife and them, they set him up, blah blah, and her partner, he's been set up, he didn't know, yada yada yada. And she was like, we're done, we're through. And she's walking out, and this, for some reason, she turned around. He's like, you gonna leave me when I'm down, when I need you the most? And she went to him and said, I don't trust you. But then she went to him and said, just tell me the truth, just tell me the truth. And he's like, I am telling you the truth. And she was like, no, I don't believe you. And he's like, then F you, get the F out. I'm done. Get the F out. And he yelled at her, and he snapped on her, and she jumped up, and she went to the door, and she turned around and said, your temper is not going to help situations. It's not going to stop me, you know. But before she left out, she said, I knew it. You know, she said, I knew it. You told me that you were trying to isolate me. She told me, she kept saying she told me that you were going to isolate me, and that you'd hit me, and that you're moving me away from my friends. And he was like, who told you that? She said, Jasmine. So I don't know who Jasmine is, but obviously it's somebody I got to find out about. And he said, are you talking to her? Are you talking to her? She said, I ran into her in the hospital, you know. So that's when, after that, that's when he yelled at her and got upset, you know. So, and then Zach and that officer, they finally let him in, but Karen had already drove off, and he said he would bring his stuff, and he wanted to clean up his blood out of her apartment and stuff. So they let him in, but before they did that, the police officer said, I ain't looking for no relationship. She just wanted to have like a good time, basically. I was like, she just want to hook up, she said. So that's where he was like, fine. And she said, let me give you my number again. He said, I got your number. And she said, oh yeah, you do. And the last thing was Zach. After that happened, Zach called one of his boys, and he finds out, I don't know what his name was, but his boy was like, yo, you need to come to one of my meetings. And he said, it's called Chain Breakers. He said, we're a non-profit for ex-cons. And he said, we do real estate deals, dude. And he was like, really? He said, yeah, we were making millions. And he said, nah, this sound like a he said, this sound like a Ponzi scheme. He said, you know, like I said, Zach's the comedian. He said, nah, it's legit. He said, okay, I'm going to come to one of your meetings. He said, nah, you got to be voted in first. He said, I got to be voted in. He's like, yeah, you got to be voted in. He said, it ain't for everybody. We have to make sure. So it ended with that. And then Karen showing up to Andy's apartment and can't get in because the FBI are in there. And it's that same FBI agent and his men. And he's not letting her in. She said, but is Andi in there? And he won't let her in. And next thing, Andi comes around the corner, and Andi is pissed because they are in her apartment, tearing it apart, going through her stuff. She feeling so violated when this FBI officer knows that she didn't know anything about it, because he was telling her everything that happened and how long they've been watching. And he knows she don't know about his first wife, that she found out he had a first wife, not let alone the second one. And then it was just, it ended like that. So we will see what happened in the next episode. But this was Barbie J, giving you the breakdown of Girlfriends. Hopefully this will help you get an idea of what it was about. It's helping me, you know, as I tell you guys about it. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Bye. Peace.